So I thought to myself, let's make a video explaining why my repairs can sometimes take a while. So here I am, using the scraps of footage of me getting off work, where I have to go through long hallways, elevators, more hallways, doors with codes, discard my work clothes and then go get more for the next day. Then hit the stairs, more hallways, and even more doors until I finally get out to the outside. Get in, and off we go. And what I call my workstation, where I get to say, hello internet. Today I have this card I sold on eBay a while back, and it was returned due to a no display. As you can see, it's partially disassembled, and I already know it's missing 5V. Why it's missing it? I hope we're going to find out together, and maybe learn a thing or two along the way. So 5V is the very first voltage that the card will generate on its own. It is generated by this buck converter. Note the arrow mark. That indicates pin number 1. Pin number 1 should have some voltage if buck converter is working. But because we don't have 5V, buck converter is not giving us anything on that pin. Next step, let's see if this buck converter is being enabled. This is going to be pin number 6. As you can see, there's nothing. Okay, so let's track back, and it looks like the resistor is the next in line, and it should be 0 ohms. Let's check that. Yep, looks good. From there, I land on this dual NPN transistor. Let's check for resistance at the base, just to make sure it's not grounded by the capacitors or by the transistor itself. 4.5K is a good reading, but once we check for voltage, we have 0. I also went ahead and checked all the neighboring components, and they all seemed fine. So next thing on the suspect list is the transistor itself. With the transistor removed, let's check and see what's changed. For whatever reason, the card is now consuming almost 2 amps, giving me an assumption that the transistor was at fault. So let's replace the transistor and see if that works. Transistor will come from a donor board that was donated by a viewer like you. Thank you. Transistor is replaced. Let's check and see if we finally get the enable signal, which is roughly 2.5V, which means we now have 5V. And we can check the rest of the voltage. So 5V is there, 1.8 is there, the core, the PEX, and the memory. Now let's assemble this thing and try to run a memory test. Memory test PCI device is not found, which means something is wrong. Even after booting into Windows, the card is not showing up in the device manager. So we'll have to go back to square one and start from checking the voltages one more time. To do that, I'll plug the card into my tester, and the tester shows exact same amp draw as before. So let's take it apart and see what we're missing. And there we have it. The exact same 1.5 volt instead of 5 is back. So let's do what Northridge Fix would have done in this situation. That is, to pull out a thermal camera and see if anything's getting hot. Nothing. What can you do? That's it for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll try not to fix something else in the next video. I'm curious about the 12 volt coming into this resistor here. Nope. Looks like 12 volt is lost somehow. According to the diagram, this 12 volt is originating on the back of the board at the PCI slot, in this area here, where it goes through a fuse. So let's see if we have 12 volt there. It looks like the fuse itself is okay, but for whatever reason the shunt resistor is not connecting to it along the way. That means there's a bad solder joint in between. Let's apply some flux and try to resolder that fuse and try again. We now have a connection all the way from before the fuse down to the shunt resistor. And I'm guessing we have everything else as well, so let's connect the card to the computer and see if we can run a memory test this time. Memory test is running, and I already see mods reporting problem with the channel B, bank 1. I know this by looking at this cheat sheet I made a while back, so it tells me which channel error code corresponds to which bank. In this case I have B1, so let's mark this chip with an X of death and proceed with the replacement as usual. You can see there are two ripped pads that are not used by this card, so you don't have to worry about it. This chip was replaced before, and for whatever reason it failed again shortly after, shattering our expectations of them working forever once installed. Something to keep in mind that if you ever send me your card for repair, parts don't always last forever, and sometimes break sooner than you would expect. In any case, let's solder another chip and see if that helps. One of the most critical steps now after replacing a memory chip is to double check resistances on memory and 1.8 volt. In my case, I have short circuit on both, which means I screwed up big time, but that's okay, I did not power the card yet, so it's not too late to correct that mistake. The mistake was that I used the wrong chip. I should have used GDDR6X. For whatever reason, I thought this was a regular 3070 and not 3070 Ti. Oh well. Back onto the preheating station, and here we go. Check for resistances one more time and we're good to go. Fire up the memory test one more time and bam, we got a pass. Yippee-ki-yo! And that's it. I hope this video will give you some sort of perspective on why it takes a while for me to fix your video card. I do this after I get home from work and I don't always have time to do it every day, so I have to do my best to get it as quick as possible. Also, making a video recording, writing a script that makes sense, and then narrating it, it can take up to a day of my time. Then there's editing, etc. You know the rest. The hardest thing to do is to get views and likes and comments from you guys, so please, help a brother out. That's it for this repair. I hope you have a blessed day and goodbye.